Hey guys, Bryant Luers here today. I am the TTA in Southeast Iowa for Team 19. Over the last week or two, harvest has really been picking up here in Southeast Iowa. And in the last week, soybean harvest has really been starting to pick up. And the question that I've got a couple times over the last couple days from guys is mainly related to soybean harvest moisture and how that's going to affect yield. So I want to cover a few things today talking about that. I guess right off the bat, so the ideal soybean harvest moisture that we normally look at is 13 to 15%. You can reduce head shell, you can reduce shatter. You get the most bang for your buck in weight, as well as getting the most beans through the machine into your tank and into the grain bin at the end of the day. So having said that, I know at least in this area, a lot of the elevators won't accept beans over 13%, so that kind of limits your windows. I assume a lot of areas are probably the same in that aspect. So if we look at that 13% window, we want to harvest as close to that as possible. So as we go down from 13 to 12%, you don't see a lot of loss. When you get down to that 10% moisture, you start to see a lot of beans popping out at the head. You'll start to see a lot of beans just cracking. The drier you get, the more loss you're going to have yield-wise as well as damage. So I want to point out here the way that we look at this is we take a little square foot area in the field, and this field was harvested I think earlier this week, but this is roughly a square foot. So counting these beans in here, this doesn't look too bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them that I'm seeing. So we're going to go look in a field here in a minute at a different field that I know was harvested earlier this week at about 10% moisture, and we're going to see what the differences is between this one that was harvested right at about 13 and a field that was harvested at 10, and see what kind of yield loss we're looking at just from beans popping out of the pods as you're going through, as well as damage. Alright, so at the last field we were at, guys, I mentioned about yield loss between 13% and going down drier to 10% and below. So we're in a field right now that I know the grower harvested earlier this week at about 10% moisture. The one we were just at was 13% moisture, and so I did a little square foot area, and there were 6 beans in that, and so I've dug a little square foot area here on this 10% harvested field to show you the difference. And I haven't counted these yet, but just visually looking, there's a heck of a lot more beans in here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 of them. So that's a little over 2 times more than what we saw on the 13% harvested field. And so just a rough figure is 4 beans per square foot on the ground is roughly a bushel an acre loss. So at that other field of 13%, we were looking at 1.5 bushels per acre loss. At this one, we're looking at a little over 2 times that. So you can see the difference from 13 to 10% moisture. Your harvest loss is just going to be substantially more. I don't see any cracked beans in this one specifically, but when we get down to those dry moistures, you can see a lot more cracking, damage. Just going to cause you some more issues. So with that, I want to say thank you. If you guys have any more questions about soybean harvest moisture, feel free to reach out to me or reach out to your local LG Seeds TTA. Thank you.